Welcome to While We Were Distracted, the podcast where we explore topics that often get overshadowed in the rush of daily life.
Okay, so our phones, they're basically like extensions of ourselves at this point, pretty much, which means keeping them secure. Super important.
Absolutely.
More than ever, it seems, especially with this latest iOS update, 18.1. Sounds like Apple's trying to play a little catch up in the security department.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's interesting here is that Apple, they usually keep the details of their security updates pretty quiet.
Right.
But this time, we actually have some insights, thanks to cybersecurity journalist Cato Flaherty.
Ooh, a little behind the scenes action.
Exactly. We're getting a glimpse into what they've been working on.
And with someone like Kate on the case, you know we're getting the real scoop. Okay, so spill the beans. What is going on with iOS 18.1?
Well, the first thing that jumps out is just the sheer number of security flaws they've addressed.
Uh-oh. How many are we talking?
28.
28.
28, which is a lot.
Yeah, that's not a small number.
Even for a major update like this, that's a pretty hefty number. It definitely makes you wonder what's been happening over there in Cupertino.
28 vulnerabilities. Not exactly inspiring confidence, is it?
Not really, no.
And we're not talking about, like, minor glitches here, are we? Some of these seem pretty serious, affecting some pretty crucial parts of the iPhone's software.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Some of these vulnerabilities are in really core parts of the system. We're talking the kernel, which is basically like the brain of your iPhone,
Okay.
and WebKit,
Oh.
which is the engine that powers Safari and, pretty much all web browsing on the phone.
So the core, the foundation.
Right. If the kernel's the brain, think of WebKit as like the nervous system, carrying information all over. Any vulnerabilities in those areas could have a pretty major impact on your security and your privacy, all of it.
Okay, so not good.
No.
Paint me a picture, worst case scenario. What could happen if someone actually exploited one of these vulnerabilities?
Well, let's take the kernel, for example. A vulnerability there could allow, say, a malicious app to bypass the security measures
Okay.
and gain access to sensitive data that it really shouldn't have.
Like what kind of data are we talking about?
Oh, things like your banking info, your passwords, maybe even personal photos.
So basically turning my phone into an open book for hackers.
Yeah, essentially. And then there's those WebKit flaws. Imagine someone being able to see your photos, your messages,
Okay.
even when your phone is locked.
Oh,
There's actually one vulnerability that can allow just that.
that's like straight out of a nightmare. I'm
Yeah.
already reaching for the update button.
Yeah, and it's not even just about snooping either. Remember content security policy?
Refresh my memory.
It's a security feature that's supposed to help protect you from malicious websites.
Okay.
Well, one of the vulnerabilities in this update could prevent that from working correctly.
So basically browsing the web becomes like a high-stakes game.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You could be much more susceptible to attacks just by visiting a website.
Okay, this is getting scary. And wait, there's more, right? Something about malicious apps running shortcuts without your consent.
Oh, yeah. That's right. This one's a bit more complex, but imagine you download an app. Seems harmless enough, right? But this app could exploit a vulnerability and hijack your shortcuts.
Okay, and shortcuts, for everyone listening, are like,
They're like those automated tasks on your iPhone.
right, okay.
So this app, it could potentially send messages on your behalf, post on your social media, even make purchases, all without you knowing.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, it's like someone's puppeteering your phone.
It really is. And
Yeah.
then on top of all of that, there's Siri with, what, 3 privacy bugs?
3, yeah. It's a reminder that even features that seem harmless can have security implications. We often forget that things like Siri, they're constantly processing our information in the background.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty bleak picture here. A lot of stuff going wrong. But what did the experts say? What's the professional take on all of this?
Well, the article quotes Sean Wright, head of application security at Featurespace. And he points out that while most of these vulnerabilities, they're focused on privacy and information leakage,
Okay.
the likelihood of them actually being exploited is, thankfully, relatively low.
So sigh of relief. But still not a reason to just ignore the update, right?
Exactly. Updating is still the best thing you can do. Plus, this update comes with some bonus features, some new AI features.
Woo! Gotta love a little sweetener.
Right. But
Mm.
there's a little wrinkle here. Apple also released iOS 17.7.1 recently.
Right. So which one should people actually go for? What's the deal?
Well, it's the classic dilemma, right?
Yeah.
Cutting-edge features versus tried-and-true stability.
Yeah.
iOS 18.1 might have the most fixes and the cool new stuff, but iOS 17.7.1 could be the safer bet,
Mm.
especially for people who use their iPhone for work.
Right. Can't risk any glitches.
Right, exactly.
So a little bit of a trade-off. Interesting. And this whole update thing, it got me thinking, it's not just about our iPhones, is it? I mean, Apple released updates for a bunch of their products.
That's true, and that just underscores a really important point. Cybersecurity isn't just about your phone.
Right.
It's about all your devices, laptops, tablets, everything. Keeping everything up to date is really the key to staying safe.
Okay, so I'm feeling the urge to update all my devices right now. But hold on. Before we all run off and do that, what's the key takeaway from all this?
The bottom line is, if you have an iPhone, updating to iOS 18.1 is highly recommended. It's definitely the most secure option. Plus, you get those cool AI features. But if you're a little hesitant about jumping to the newest version, iOS 17.7.1 is still a solid choice for security updates. It really comes down to being informed and choosing what works best for you.
Sounds like good advice. Now, this whole conversation, it's got me thinking about the bigger picture here. Cyber attacks, they seem to be getting more and more sophisticated. So how can we, as individuals and companies even, really protect ourselves in this digital world?
That's a really good question, and it's one that deserves some serious thought. The digital world is constantly changing, and we need to be prepared to adapt.
So it's not just about reacting to the latest threat, but being proactive, thinking ahead?
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we'll be digging into in part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good. But for now, I think we all have a lot to digest. 28 vulnerabilities, new AI features, and, that ever-present question of how to stay safe in this crazy digital world. But don't worry, we'll be back with more in part 2.
It's easy to get bogged down in the technical stuff,
Yeah.
all the details of these vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to step back for a second and think about what it really means for people.
Right.
Like, what happens if someone actually exploits one of these flaws? What does that look like?
That's a great point. I mean, we talked about data leaks, someone getting access to your device, even taking control. But how likely is it that someone's actually going to target, like, an average user? Me.
So the good news is most attacks aren't personal.
Okay.
Hackers, usually, they're casting a wide net, hoping to snag as many people as possible.
Right.
With things like phishing emails or those malicious websites.
Gotcha. So it's less about being targeted, more about just being in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah, in most cases.
Okay.
But of course, there are targeted attacks.
Right.
Where someone is specifically going after you or your company.
Right.
Those are usually much more sophisticated, much harder to protect against.
Okay, so what can we actually do to protect ourselves?
Yeah.
Is it just updating our devices and keeping our fingers crossed?
Well, updating is crucial,
Yeah.
but it's really just the first step.
Okay.
Think of it like locking your front door.
Okay.
It's basic security, but you wouldn't stop there.
Right.
We need a more layered approach.
All right, I'm listening. What are the layers?
Okay, so first up, awareness. You have to understand how hackers operate, what their tactics are. And that means staying informed.
Right.
Keeping up with the latest security news, not just blindly clicking links or downloading shady apps.
So knowledge is power in this case.
Absolutely. The more you know, the better you can protect yourself.
Makes sense. Okay, what's the next layer?
So next is what I like to call good cyber hygiene. Think of it like washing your hands, but for the digital world.
Okay.
Simple habits, but so important.
Yeah.
Strong passwords, unique passwords for everything.
Right.
Be really cautious about what links you click
Mm.
and be mindful about what information you're sharing online.
Okay, basic but essential.
Exactly.
What else?
So this is where your digital bodyguards come in.
Oh,
Security software,
right.
antivirus, anti-malware, firewalls. These can help detect and block those threats before they can even do any damage.
So it's like having a bouncer for your devices, keeping the bad stuff out.
Exactly. And then finally, don't underestimate backups.
Oh, right.
If something does go wrong, malware or even a lost device,
Yeah.
having those backups can really help you recover.
So you're not starting from scratch.
Right.
Okay, so we've got awareness, good cyber hygiene, security software, backups. Sounds like a solid plan.
Yeah.
But is it ever truly enough? Are we ever really 100% safe in this digital world?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The truth is 100% security doesn't exist.
Right.
There's always some level of risk.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we just give up.
Right.
We take these steps, we reduce our risk, and we make it a lot harder for the attackers.
So it's more about managing the risk than eliminating it completely.
Exactly. Finding that balance between convenience and security.
Right.
We don't want to make our digital lives so restrictive that we can't enjoy them.
Finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've talked about the technical side of these iPhone vulnerabilities, the real-world impact, how to protect ourselves.
hmm
But this whole situation, it makes me think about the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
This isn't just an Apple problem, is it?
You're right. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
These kinds of security flaws, you see them everywhere, not just iPhones.
Right?
It's a
Yeah.
constant race
Mm.
between developers trying to build secure systems
Mm.
and those hackers looking for any little crack to
Yeah.
exploit.
And the stakes just get higher as technology gets more complex, right?
Mhm.
More connected.
Absolutely. We're seeing much more sophisticated attacks,
Yeah.
hackers using things like AI, machine learning.
It's like an arms race, but with code.
It is. It really is.
So what does all this mean for the future of cybersecurity?
Hmm.
Are we just destined for this endless cycle of vulnerabilities and patches?
That's a question that keeps a lot of security professionals up at night.
Yeah.
There's no easy answer,
Mm.
but I do think there's some reason for optimism.
Oh, I'd love to hear something positive.
Well, for one, we're seeing a lot more collaboration between security researchers, tech companies, even government agencies.
Okay.
They're sharing information, coordinating their efforts, working together to come up with better security solutions.
So strength in numbers.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're also seeing some really cool advances in security tech, like AI and machine learning,
Right.
which can actually help us detect and respond to attacks much faster.
That does sound promising.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's bring it back to these iPhone issues for a second.
Sure.
What can Apple do specifically to improve their security?
Well, one thing they could do is just be more transparent
Okay.
about the vulnerabilities they find and fix.
Right.
Right now, their updates are pretty vague,
Yeah, they are.
which makes it hard for users to really understand what's going on.
So give us more context, like this is exactly what we patched.
Right.
Got it.
Another thing they could do is invest more in security research.
Okay.
Working with experts, funding projects
Yeah.
to try and identify these vulnerabilities before they're even exploited.
So being proactive, both for companies and for us,
Exactly.
we can hold these companies accountable too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
As users, we have a voice.
Yeah.
We can choose products and services from companies that actually prioritize security
Right.
and let them know that it matters to us.
We're not just going to sit back and hope they take care of it.
Exactly. We have to be informed and advocate for our own security.
Love it. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From those nitty-gritty details to the bigger picture
Yeah.
and, what our role is in all of this and
Mhm.
hopefully given our listeners some steps they can take
For sure.
to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I have one final question.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked a lot about being proactive, staying ahead of the curve.
Right.
But what if, instead of just reacting to threats, we could actually anticipate them?
Oh.
Like, what if we could use technology to predict and prevent these cyber attacks before they even happen?
Wow. That's like pre-crime for the digital world.
Exactly.
That's
It
fascinating.
might sound like sci-fi, but researchers are actually looking into this,
Really?
using AI and machine learning to try and predict these attacks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine if we could neutralize threats before they even appear.
It would be a total game changer.
It would.
But I imagine there are some big ethical questions that come with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If we can predict attacks, who decides what's a threat?
Right, right.
What about privacy, civil liberties?
It's a whole other can of worms.
It really is.
Maybe a topic for another deep dive.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's a good question to leave our listeners with.
Right.
The potential of predictive cybersecurity, it's really exciting.
It is.
But we have to think about the implications, the ethical side of it as well.
Absolutely. It's a crucial conversation.
Okay, well, I think we've done it again.
I think
Covered a lot in this part, too.
we did, from the iPhone stuff to the future of it all.
Yeah.
It's been a great discussion.
And we've given our listeners lots to think about.
For sure.
But there's still one more piece of the puzzle to look at.
Right.
Those shiny new AI features that come with iOS 18.1.
Right. The fun stuff.
So join us for part 3,
Yes, please do.
where we'll take a closer look at how those work, what they can do, and what they might mean for the future of our iPhones. All right, so we've covered the serious stuff, the vulnerabilities, the threats, all that.
The not so fun stuff.
Exactly. But let's be real. Everyone's also a little excited about the new toys that come with this iOS 18.1.
Oh, for sure.
Especially those AI-powered features, everyone's talking about those.
It's true. Apple's really been leaning into AI lately, and this update, yeah, it's a big step. They're pushing the limits of what our iPhones can actually do.
So I've heard a lot of buzz, but haven't really had a chance to dive in myself. Give us the inside scoop. What's got everyone so excited?
Well, one of the big ones is definitely the enhanced Siri.
Ah, Siri.
They've been working on making it more intelligent, more conversational. And with 18.1, it feels like they've actually made some real progress.
So no more robotic responses. Siri's finally catching up to the other guys.
That's the goal. They're using advanced machine learning to improve the natural language processing. So Siri should understand your request better, even if you're not speaking in, like, perfect robot language.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten into an argument with Siri because it just couldn't understand what I was saying.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
But it's not just about understanding. It's also about responding in a more natural way. Apple wants Siri to feel less like a voice search, more like an actual assistant you can chat with.
So less barking commands, more like a back and forth.
Exactly. And this goes beyond just the basic stuff, setting reminders, playing music. Apple sees Siri being much more versatile, helping you plan your day, do research, even control your smart home.
Okay, that sounds pretty amazing. But how much of this is hype? Have they really pulled it off?
It's early days, we'll have to see how it performs in real-world use.
Right, right.
But based on what they've shown, it's impressive. They're definitely pushing the boundaries.
I'm intrigued. What else is in this AI bag of tricks?
Well, there's also a big improvement in photo recognition.
Oh, okay.
Apple's been using machine learning for its photo features for a while, but this update takes it to a whole new level.
So what can it do now?
It can recognize objects and scenes with incredible accuracy. Like if you search for beach photos, it'll actually find all the photos you've taken at the beach, even if they're not tagged.
That's wild.
It's pretty amazing what these algorithms can do.
Yeah, the pattern recognition is incredible.
And it's not just objects, it can recognize faces too, like super accurately, even if someone's changed their look.
So no more manually tagging every photo.
Theoretically, no. Should make managing those photos a lot easier.
Okay, I'm sold. What else?
They've also added some AI features to help you manage your time, stay organized.
Okay, you're speaking my language now. Tell me more.
So there's a new feature that actually analyzes your calendar and suggests times to schedule meetings. It considers your availability, travel time, even your preferred locations.
Oh, that's a game changer. No more back and forth emails trying to nail down a time.
Exactly. And there's another feature that helps you prioritize your tasks. It looks at your to-do list, your emails, your messages, and figures out what needs your attention most.
Wow, these AI features sound like they could be a real productivity boost.
They really could. They have the potential to streamline a lot of stuff, free up our time for, well, more important things.
It's amazing. But it also makes you think, with all this AI integration, are our phones becoming less like devices and more like, I don't know, companions?
That's a really interesting question. As these features get more advanced, more integrated into our lives, that relationship with our devices is definitely going to change. It's something to think about for sure.
And what about the privacy side of things? I mean, we're basically giving these AIs access to so much of our personal information.
Yeah, it's a valid concern. Any technology that deals with personal data, there's a risk. Companies need to be transparent about how they're using our data and give us control over our privacy settings.
It's our data. We should have a say.
Absolutely. And as users, we have to be aware, make informed decisions about what we're sharing.
Okay, so it seems like this iOS 18.1 update is kind of a mixed bag. On one hand, essential security fixes. On the other, these exciting new AI features that are really pushing the boundaries.
It really reflects where we are with technology right now. It's always evolving. There are risks, but also so much potential.
Well said. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our deep dive into this iPhone update.
Wow, it's been quite a journey. We've covered a lot, from the technical stuff to the big picture questions to the future of AI and everything in between.
And hopefully our listeners have a better understanding of what's going on in the world of cybersecurity, both the challenges and the possibilities.
That's what we're here for.
Exactly. But remember, this is just the beginning. The tech world never sleeps. There's always something new happening.
Always. So stay curious, stay informed, and as always, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next episode on While We Were Distracted.